Hi guys, LateCom here, and we are back with one of those videos where we critically analyze the state of our favorite dysfunctional game that we all love, Trove. Things have gotten so bad, so much so that it has prompted me to rise from my slumber of inactivity once again. With that being said, let's start the fun. So our last Trove economics video was pretty much almost an entire year ago, where we assessed the reasons for why Flux, the main currency for transacting in the game, started to become much more easier to obtain in Trove. Well, it's safe to say that we will be discussing the converse of that notion in this one, as you probably have seen from the title of this video. Instead of becoming easier to farm at this point, Flux is actually becoming harder to farm, and here's why. Let's first break down the majority of the Flux farming methods that we've ever discussed on this channel and take a trip down memory lane. We've got Geode cave farming, Shadow Shard farming, Neon City Scrap Case farming, gardening, Paragon pinata farming, sample book farming, Nitro farming, market flipping, and many more, all of which, by the way, have videos compiled in the playlist in the links in the descriptions below. We're getting a little sidetracked here. Now, what do all of these Flux farming methods have in common? Well, that's simple. Although being called Flux farming methods, these methods have little to no association with directly creating Flux in the game. Instead, what they have in common is the fact that they rely on the demand of the items farmed in the marketplace by other players. It's common knowledge to know that if nobody buys the item that you sell in the marketplace, you won't get Flux out of whatever you farm. That's what we're going to be taking a look in today's video. The change in demand for valuable, farmable items in Trove and the impact it causes as a result. Let's first take a look at the current state of the Geode cave market as it has changed most significantly in recent times. Prices for T5 materials such as Ancient Gears, Builderite, and Quirkstone have fallen over 40% over the past few months, and this definitely was the result of a lack of demand for Geode ores overall. The majority of the demand for these ores is derived from the number of newer players completing their Geode mastery, and this can be directly tied to the number of brand new accounts looking to progress in the game. Here's the issue. With the lack of new players entering the game, we will continue to see a fall in the demand for such ores and hence the lower the profitability from these farming methods. It is safe to say that the more players complete their Geode items and the less that there are newer players to work on Geode overall, that the Geode cave farming method will slowly become an inefficient Flux farming method over time. In the case of Nitro, we see a fall from around 170 Flux to under 100 Flux in the last 2 months. However, this may not have been due to a fall in the demand for Nitro. As Crystal 4 gear is the main demand factor for Nitro, with 10,000 Nitro required per piece, it is hard to imagine that the number of players needing Crystal 4 gears is diminishing, because that isn't the case at all. The real reason for the fall in Nitro prices is due to the supply of Nitro. With the ongoing rise of Uber 10 ships, players are able to farm more Paragon levels and subsequently more Paragon pinatas, which drop an ample supply of Nitro as you open them up. This may have caused a rise in the amount of Nitro circulating in the game, leading to more listings in the market, crashing the price as time passes. Now, this begs the question, why hasn't the price of Paragon pinatas fallen yet, even though Uber 10 ships are becoming more and more popular for leveling? Well, this may be due to Crystal 4 rings being relatively hard to obtain, with one of the methods of obtaining it being from opening Paragon pinatas for more primal loops to craft more ring boxes for a chance at obtaining a Crystal 4 ring box, or just trying your luck at dropping a ring box from the pinatas themselves, which have a very, very low chance of occurring. Other than that, the rareness of the primal Paragon wings and the other auras help stimulate further demand for the pinatas, something which is very hard to come by as the drop chance for the wings goes approximately 1 in every 5,000 or so pinatas. It can be said that once the demand for these rare items diminish, the price of these Paragon pinatas will fall, but that may not occur in the near future. So, how does this affect the current state of Flux farming? While we know that the majority of Flux farming methods are based off of demand and supply in the marketplace, demand has to be stimulated in order to keep these Flux farming methods viable for players. If it fails to do so, this will cause the death of some prevalent Flux farming methods, which may begin to limit the variety of farming methods for players, and this isn't a good thing as repetitivity may kick in, discouraging players from playing the game overall. As the game begins to lose newer players, this may affect the demand for certain materials and hence result in what we've discussed earlier. Honestly, I can already begin to visualize what the game would be like in the long run when it truly begins to decline past the point where there are not enough active players to sustain the marketplace from working the way it is. People will have to begin to rely on stellar Flux farming to directly create Flux in the game, but even then, will there be much ways to spend the Flux on anything at all? Listings will drop and so will the prices of items. We may see an increase in the value of Flux at that stage, but it would be pointless to predict so far in the future anyways, as hopefully by then I won't be playing the game. Just hopefully. But for now, things may stay the way they are, although we are already starting to see the first signs of the slow death of Flux farming methods.